For this art meditation, you'll just need your pre-dried watercolor blobs and a micron ink pen. So this is the technique we'll be doing today. We're going to do some meditative ink outlining on our dried watercolor blobs. I did part 1 on how to create these watercolor blobs in the previous video. Take your ink pen and begin to outline the outer edge or the main shape of your first watercolor burst. As you outline the main shape, notice how the pen feels in your hand. How does the pen feel against the paper? Does your hand brush against the paper? And how does that feel? Once you've finished outlining your main shape, start outlining the inner shapes. Notice any interesting edges or colors that you see on the page. Are there any areas more saturated than others? Isn't it interesting how the watercolor bursts dry and create these blooming effects? You can see where the watercolors ran together when they were wet, and how that created an interesting shape and pattern when they dried. As you continue to outline the shapes that you see, bring awareness to your breath. How are you breathing? What is the rhythm like? Go ahead and deepen and lengthen your breaths. Take a nice deep breath in and let it out. Go ahead and take another nice deep breath in and exhale fully. Together, let's take one more deep breath in and let all the air out. You can return to a natural rhythm of breath. Continue to outline. And as we move through this art meditation together, I will act as your guide and help you check in and take notice of what you are thinking about. Where is your awareness, or where is your focus? And if your mind wanders, if you find yourself thinking, or even thinking about thinking, I'll help guide you back to your breath or to the sensations of the drawing. So this practice will help you come back to the present moment when you can focus on something simple like ink outlining. It helps you recenter and be in the present moment. And the same thing when you focus on your breath, it can help you detach from your thoughts or interrupt the pattern of thought you might be having. And it gives you something in the present moment to focus on instead. So the intention here is to help you focus your awareness in the present moment. And as you do this practice, over time, you'll start to realize your thoughts are not reality. Reality is right here, right now. Your thoughts are often taking place in the perspective of the future or the past. And this is a calming, relaxing practice for the right here, right now. And it trains your mind to not get caught up in the storytelling your brain loves to do about the past and the future. Once you feel satisfied with outlining the inner shapes, you can start to shade in some of those shapes. You can use cross-hatching, stippling, or dots. You can make swirls or wavy lines. Let your intuition guide you here. Notice how it feels to make different types of line marks. How does it feel to make a squiggly line? And how does it feel to make small hatch marks or straight lines? Notice the sound of your pen against your paper. Does the sound match the texture? Can you hear the texture of the paper as your pen moves across it? Where is your mind right now? Bring it back to the sensations and what's happening on the paper. Take note if your mind was wandering. Where were your thoughts taking you? Isn't that interesting? You can continue shading and outlining your first watercolor burst. I'll be moving on to the second. I'm doing all 4 watercolor bursts in this video. So you can get ready to wrap up and move along with me or continue working at your own pace. I'll continue guiding you and checking in on your breath, on your thoughts, your awareness. As you move on to other watercolor bursts, if you choose to do so, experiment with your hand movements, the line marks, the strokes on the page. You can make this your own. I'm not going to focus on guiding you through technique for the rest of this video as far as it comes to the outlining. You can watch and follow along, of course, but I really want you to spend the rest of this time with the intention to stay present, to notice your awareness, notice where your mind is taking you. Notice how you feel, physical sensations, and internally, how do you feel? If your mind wanders a lot during this practice, that's okay. I also enjoy imagining every thought I have is being put down on paper through the ink in the pen. So try that for a moment. As you continue to outline and put ink on paper, imagine you are drawing out your thoughts. Every line is a thought. Checking in Where is your mind right now? Bring your attention to your breath for the next few moments. Continue to outline, focus your awareness on your breath as you do. Wherever you're at, pause for a moment and take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Continue outlining. And now, for the next few moments, bring your awareness back to the sensations on the paper. Bring awareness to your thoughts. Where was your mind just now? Isn't it interesting, our mind, how it can generate thoughts? We get lost in these movies that we create in our minds with thought. Thinking can be very useful. Our thoughts can be creative. They can make us feel optimistic or excited. And our thoughts can also hold us back, whether it's fear, maybe insecurity. Those feelings come from thought. How often are you predicting the future with your thoughts? And I don't mean in an actual psychic way. Maybe you do that. But how often do you let yourself fantasize about the worst case scenario? Or what if this unwanted thing happens? And it hasn't happened, but you entertain the thought. Isn't that interesting? As you continue to draw and outline, try something different. Try different line work or patterns. How does it feel to do something new? Bring your awareness to your breath. Continue to outline and shade with the focus on your breath. Move your awareness back to what's happening on the paper, the progress, the sensations. Notice where your mind is right now. What were you thinking about? Where was your awareness? Was it right here, right now? Were you off in the past or the future? Just take note, bring it back to what's happening on the paper. Come back to the idea that every mark on the paper is a thought. We have so many thoughts in one day, and we can only think one thing at a time. This visual representation on paper, it's like a snapshot of seeing a day's thoughts on paper all at once. What's the story they're telling overall? What's the vibe of that day if you were to collect all your thoughts from one day and put them on paper like this? And it's okay to have thoughts of all kinds. Rather than trying to change your thoughts, It can be more helpful to simply be aware of them. See them, notice them. What kind of day do your thoughts create for you? What kind of life have your thoughts created for you? Would your day or would your life look different if more of your thoughts were right here, right now, focused on the present moment? If you were more aware that you are thinking throughout the day, would that change anything? When you can recognize that you are thinking, that's a big step toward intentionally choosing to redirect your thoughts if you wish. Again, this isn't about forcing yourself to change, but simply being awareness that you can. One thought at a time. Wherever you're at with your art meditation, continue outlining, continue shading, and imagine that as you draw your thoughts on paper, your mind becomes more clear. You've been outlining now for a little while, getting all of those thoughts out of your head and onto the paper. How does it feel to see your thoughts on paper? Bring your awareness back to the sensations, the physical sensations, what's happening on the paper. How does it feel? Notice where your mind is right now. Bring it back to the paper. Bring your awareness to your breath. Whatever you were thinking about, if you've been able to maintain focus on the sensations on the paper, or if your thoughts took you somewhere else, just notice and bring your awareness to your breath. Enjoy a few deep breaths at your own pace. Wherever you're at in your process, put your pen aside. Good job. I'm removing the tape, the way I set up my large watercolor paper. I do that to prevent warping, by the way, and also to prevent the paper from moving around too much as I'm doing my ink outlining. I love how it sounds to peel tape off the watercolor paper. And if you're doing this, do it nice and slow. The tape can sometimes lift the paper off with it. How are you feeling? Look at your thoughts on these watercolor bursts. And I'm going to cut mine down into individual pieces of paper. So here we have it. We ended up with 4 art meditations in one. Thank you for joining me. I hope you feel some calm and relaxation after this practice. You might want to stretch out your hands a bit. Now go forth and be present, my friend.